eat, what you drink, and what you or don't dope. So eat, drink, and don't dope is the session. We have some very eminent speakers on this panel, so it's my pleasure to invite them. Uh, so before that, you need to know your moderator. I'm Dr. Thiagarajan, Professor and Head at Sports Medicine at the Sri Ramchandra University in Chennai, which has got the ICC accredited sports biomechanics lab for suspect bowling action for the fast bowlers. That way we are famous, and we work very closely with the BCCI and all the cricket associations of our country. And also we are the only accredited sports center of excellence for AFC for football in India, and we got many more accreditations also. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you all if ever you happen to land or cross Chennai. So that invitation is open. Hopefully, we'll be conducting some other conferences in the near future. So the first speaker is Shiny, my good colleague in the past and always. Shiny is the first ever IOC diploma holder from India to hold the diploma in sports nutrition, and she has spearheaded the sports nutrition part in this part of the country. And now she's also into preventive and health nutrition apart from sports, and she has founded the Art of Eating. So I love that term, Art of Eating, and she is a level 2 kinanthropomist also, and also consults at the Hudson Badminton Center, which is one of the largest badminton centers in India. And with this introduction, I invite Shiny to give her first talk. We'll have 3 talks, and then we'll have a panel discussion after that. Shiny. You can walk the talk.
Okay. All right. Sure. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Thiagarajan, thanks for the kind introduction and also having both of us here, Geetanjali and me. And it's been lovely interacting with all the delegates here. Really looking forward to a lot more interactive session. Hope this panel really goes well with all the questions that you're going to be asking. Nutrition has always been a interesting topic. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions coming our way. Going to have a quick short presentation and then we'll take up questions. So we all know when we eat, or else sometimes even when we have to decide on something, we always say the gut feeling. That's something that comes in our conversation quite a lot. And your food and mood has a strong connection. And gut is your second brain. And if you were to eat, like, say, dahi chawal, or else if you're going to have your dal rice, or if you're going to have, say, a potato-based dish, how do you feel? You feel quite sleepy? That's your serotonin release. Or if you're going to have a glass of warm milk before you go to bed, so that again is going to help you sleep well. So you do realize that what you choose to eat has a connection to how you feel. And if you really want to stay awake, or else have a better bout of exercise, a lot of people would take a glass of a cup of coffee, right? So caffeine is being the stimulant. So likewise, we all know the connection between nutrition, or rather the gut health, and of course the brain health. Another factor is also that is important to consider a whole bunch of factors, especially for cricketers who travel so much from place to place. And this is one of the most important things that we tend to overlook, because food intolerances and food allergies have a major impact, and there is a connection to inflammation and, of course, to also injury. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So we have a whole bunch of things like, it could be um, over-the-counter drugs or else supplements, or it can even be just eating outside. Say, for instance, like even yesterday we were interacting with some of them. They said went out and ate some chaat, had some samosas, and so if you're going to eat some street food, also you don't know what's coming in, right? And how that's going to affect your food. I can see Nikita smiling. So there are a whole lot of things that can just creep into your system and cause a lot of damage in the run. And then if you're unable to go for a training session, or if you're not able to play, or if you land up in a new city and then eat the biryani there or the spicy curries, that can really upset your practice session or else even the match day. So this is something that we really have to pay attention to, and also the whole a lot of bugs that can really come in the way. Age is another factor, and this is something that we have to keep in mind. So if you're looking at reading some of the papers, so this is one thing that you could definitely look up. And we also have there are a lot of things. Your gut microbiota is influenced by the dietary, the exercise habits, and the way you were born. Was it a C-section? Was it a vaginal birth? And also your gender, genetics, ethnicity, antibiotics, antibiotic usage. So if you get just one prescription from your GP, and then if you don't go back for further visits, every time you get an infection, but you continue to have that one prescription and then just keep using that medicine for a very long time, which happens quite often in India, then you know the kind of damage that you're going to do to the gut friendly bacteria. And also, there are so many other factors. We all understand how gut bacteria or microbiome is important for athletic performance, and inflammation is the very big concern. So when we do a battery of tests when they come for assessment, we'll definitely look at the inflammatory markers in a big way, and then periodically, once in 3 months, we do a repeat. And another most important factor is also the dysbiosis. I'm sure you would have heard about leaky gut syndrome. So what really happens is, if one is not aware of their um, food intolerance, or I'll say food allergy, and continue to eat, like say, a handful of peanuts, or else it could be rotis, kakras, parathas, or even have, like say, paneer, yeah, cheese sandwiches, whole wheat breads, all of that. But if they are not aware that they have a condition called, let's say, non-celiac gluten sensitivity or any of this, they will damage their epithelial lining. So the gut integrity itself is compromised, and there are small gaps that are formed, and undigested food particle will escape into the circulation. And now that's going to cause a lot of generalized inflammation, and that does have a connection to injury. So if you have a client, a player who's having repeated injuries, this is one aspect, one angle that you could consider and probably refer them to a dietitian. Okay, so gut permeability, dysbiosis, and those are things which are important. Another most important factor is also that we get to see in our practice is a lot of people do not eat adequate high fiber non-starchy vegetables. A lot of potatoes, yam, roots and tubers are favored by a lot of people, but then non-starchy vegetables like your gourd vegetables, different types of beans, or else even green leafy vegetables are quite often ignored, and because of which you get to see that they're not really getting a lot of fiber or roughage into the system, and the regular bowel movement itself is compromised. And also fermented products like curd, raita, different homemade yogurts, all of this, if it's not regular, it is definitely going to be impacting their system. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll just move forward. So what are the most common issues that we get to see in our clinical setup? I run a private clinic. Earlier, I used to work in Ramchandra Medical College as a lecturer in sports nutrition for 8 years. Then 2018 onwards, I've been seeing a lot of private clients, and these are the most common issues that they present with. And of course, what are the things that we get to see? Sometimes it could be a fiber related issues, low fiber, or else it can also be high fatty foods, or maybe it is also protein. So if one has lactose, sorry about that, if one has lactose intolerance and they take whey protein supplement, there could be a digestive issue there, and sometimes we require extra enzymes also to help them digest the protein supplement. And also fructose associated issues, fructose malabsorption is another thing that we get to see. And another factor is inadequate fluid intake. And beverages also, if it is consumed with very high osmolalities, that can also cause a lot of bloating, belching, burping. And because of this discomfort, there could be a huge issue, because they keep telling, I'm going to the gym, but I'm doing all the training, as my coach says, as my SNC says, but I'm not getting to see a slim waist. And why is it? So this could be one of the angles to consider. I'm just going to quickly. Okay. So again, for gut health, when we get to see, probiotic plays a big role. And we also see locally, when we look at across India, there are a lot of native foods which have probiotic rich foods. So you've heard of idlis and dosas in the south, and you also have fermented rice. So rice that is cooked is kept overnight, and then the next morning, a little bit of buttermilk is mixed with it, and they also add a little pickle to it and consume that drink first thing in the morning. And that is something which is very, very supportive for gut health. So if you look at even the millets, the ragi or the pearl millet that we call it, nachni in Hindi. So again, porridges are prepared and mixed with buttermilk, and that's consumed. So there are so many local foods which are quite supportive for gut health. But then when we move towards a Western diet, the influence of a Western diet has also impacted the gut health in a very big way. And we know the connection. During the pandemic, we all saw how gut health also has a connection to the immunity, and then it reduces inflammation, also supports in nutrition, nutrient production as well as absorption. So yesterday we were having a chat with some of our friends and physiotherapists as well as SNCs. They said B12 and vitamin D is quite low. So this is also a very important aspect to consider, because your nutrient absorption can be affected. So I've done courses with Asker You Can Drop, and I follow him ardently on his social media pages and everywhere. So I've used one of the slides from his Insta page. So this is something. So training the gut for athletes. So this is going to help a lot for improved gastric emptying as well as for intestinal absorption and improved stomach comfort and to reduce the GI problems. So training the gut is something that we really have to work very closely with the athletes and help them get trained with this. So training with large volumes of fluid, or it could be training immediately after a meal, or rather a high carbohydrate diet, and then again help them train. So you try all of this before the season starts, and then you really prime them for the season. Another factor, of course, is the benefits of probiotics, as I mentioned earlier. I'm going to quickly move to the next slide. So this is another paper. If you're interested, you could look into it, because a lot of people will present with mood disturbances, or else it could be fatigue, or could be GI distress, and constantly having gastrointestinal issues. So if that's the case, then we really have to dive deep and look into it, because most often when you just fix their diet and then retrain the gut, you will see amazing differences. So they just have to work closely with a well-trained professional. And your dopamine or a serotonin, because if you look at all these endocrine hormones and everything, this itself, your gut or your microbiota itself acts as a endocrine organ, and this is something that we really have to pay a lot of attention to. And the inflammatory response. So if there is a muscle injury, is there a connection to your gut health? Looks like it. So one best example that I can give is this year, for the past 1.5 years, been working with Vijay Shankar, who's with Gujarat Titans. And when he called up for the first time, he did mention how he has prone to injuries. And when we looked at his diet, there was a lot of filter coffee. So when you go to Madras, when you go to Chennai, coffee is something which is very special. And localites, we just love the coffee there. And there are people who have like 5-6 cups of coffee. And when you're sitting with friends or else your teammates and all of that, so this comes in. So over the first thing that I pulled out from his diet is I said, drink your black coffee, but not the milk. And that made a big difference. And he's a vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian. So there were a lot of milk and milk products. He was having that in order to get some more extra protein, but then that milk wasn't really helping. A nutrigenomics test actually helped to understand that he was lactose intolerant and also gluten intolerant. He had non-celiac gluten sensitivities. When he removed all of this, his results were great. His injuries have come down drastically, and he did really well for the IPL. So I'm just going to quickly run through. And anti-inflammatory diets, there are all these foods that's easily available. And we also give FODMAPs for anyone who has irritable bowel syndrome. Okay, so this is another thing to be considered, because fruits doesn't suit everyone. Large bowls of papaya, cut fruits or something, you think it's healthy to have all of them, but if you're going to have that with your breakfast, it might not go down too well. And also beans, your refried beans, or else your rajma, chana, your sundal, the sprouts, that again can affect gut health in a big way. And gluten-free, dairy-free, yeah, a lot of people seem to have it. It's just that they haven't gone for further diagnosis. So this is something that we get to see. It could manifest as migraine, severe sinusitis, eczema, dermatitis, unexplained anemia. It could be also low ferritin levels. So when you do a blood test and then you also give them iron-rich foods, and if you don't see the values going up, then you just have to look at the bioavailability. So what is the inflammation at the cellular level? So we really have to focus on molecular nutrition. And also they might be eating, but so we've always heard you are what you eat, but you are what you absorb is the new mantra. And we really have to pay attention to that. So what are the options that we give? As South Indians, we always recommend a lot of rice, and there's also ancient rice, which has plenty of nutrients. That's another thing that's considered. Quinoa, amaranth, almond flour, brown rice, besan, the just chana dal flour is recommended a lot. Millets might not go down too well with a lot of people. It's the International Year of Millets, but we have noticed that it has backfired big time for a lot of people. So don't really overdo millets. It might not get digested really well. So dairy alternatives, you do have a lot of other calcium-rich sources. It can be given. You have tilka chikki and sesame powder can be added to your gunpowder or your chutney powders. And there's a lot of other seeds, seed mixtures. Laddus can be made. Olive seeds or halim seed ka laddu also can be given. Green leafy vegetables does have oxalate too. So calcium oxalate stones are another thing that we get to see. So you needn't actually eat green leafy vegetables every single day. Thrice a week is more than enough. Okay. And next, of course, these are factors to consider, especially for someone into sports, but individualized diet or customized tailor-made plans are going to be very, very helpful. Okay. And another factor is sleep. So the moment a client comes in, we take their phone and look at the time spent on Instagram or else even on any social media, because the phone clearly indicates on an average how much they're spending. So if they're not sleeping well, that's going to impact their recovery. And if they're not clear about which are the foodstuffs that suit their system, then that again is going to impact. So working closely as a team, your support staff, SNC coaches are there, all of that. So it'll be great if you could also work closely with a dietitian, because you'll get a lot of insights. Because we see a lot of clients who go to bed at 2 or 3. They said we go to bed at 10, but then when do you actually sleep? They said 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So when once you fix the sleep, gut health also improves quite a lot. So these are some of our clients. I work in Chennai. I have my own standalone clinic. And thank you so much. You'll find me on Instagram as at Shiny Surendran. Thanks a lot, Dr. Thiagarajan, for this opportunity to be here.